Hi, this is Blair Berg with Double B Homes, and I'm joined by Sarah Church. Welcome to the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. This is Blair Berg, and I'm joined by good friend and colleague Ian Haug. This is the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I am joined by Corey Wright. This is the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I'm joined by Jamie Fritz. This is the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I'm joined by the growth partner for the Pemberton home team, Jess Windsor. This is the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I'm joined by Drake Duckworth. This is the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I'm joined by friend, colleague, and fellow real estate agent Nick Harris. This is the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I'm joined once again by friend and colleague Ian Haug. This is the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I'm joined by Parker Pemberton.
Welcome to the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and I am joined by friend and colleague Nick Harris. Welcome to the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I am joined by Jackson Dunnell. Welcome to the Real Estate Sit-Down. My name is Blair Berg, and today we have Ian Haug on. Welcome to the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today I am joined by Jelena. Welcome to the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg. Today I'm joined by Joe Dennis. Welcome to the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg. Today we're joined by Dan Sherman. Welcome to the Real Estate Sit-Down presented by Double B Homes. My name is Blair Berg, and today we'll be talking about the home buying process. So I thought, who better to bring on than someone I've actually bought a home with, Maria Gilson.
What do you do to keep a good work-life balance?
Yeah. So it's a lot of course correction, I would say, but you know, it really is. I would say the biggest thing that you can do to work towards achieving that work-life balance is time blocking your schedule. But that means time blocking everything, right? It's time blocking, of course, your lead gen, your lead follow-up, your appointments, your showings, et cetera. But then on top of that, it's time blocking the time to be with your family that we talked about too, to make sure that, you're still present in your loved ones' lives while still working hard, right? So it's time blocking dinner. And I think the biggest, one of the biggest struggles that a lot of parents have is, and we see it all the time too, and I've had this conversation a lot where we do time block, but as you know, in the real estate industry, when you set a schedule, it's pretty easy to deviate from. You know, something comes up, you don't make your phone call. Something comes up, you reschedule a showing and you push it later in the night, which means you're going to miss dinner with your family, whatever it is, right? So it really comes down to fiercely protecting your time. And if you do have to deviate from your schedule, I think one of the biggest tools that anybody can use that is maybe struggling with that work-life balance is setting time aside to really reevaluate your schedule too. Saying, something came up and so I missed my lead gen this morning. And it's not saying I'm going to forget about it and move on from that and I'll lead gen tomorrow. It's saying, okay, where can I put this in my schedule tomorrow or the next day where I can make up for that? And I think it's the same thing, if you miss something with your family, it's getting that back on the books, because things come up in both directions, right? Things come up in work, things come up in life, but then I think and I know I struggled with it right away in the beginning too, is where, something would come up and I wouldn't make up for it. Right. It's just kind of continuing to plug away with your schedule. It's continuing to, push forward onto whatever your next task is, but not making up for that. And I think that's where your work-life balance can really fall out of whack.
Do you have a plan or blueprint for actually achieving the financial freedom? Do you have a set plan? Hey, this is 5 years, this is 10 years, this is 15.
I do. And how I measure that is net worth.
Okay.
So my measuring stick. So a lot of people in real estate, I sell homes, you sell homes, but a lot of people's measuring stick is how many units.
Yep.
Oh man, I did 50 units. I did 100 units. That's the measuring stick, right? To me, it's it doesn't matter how many units I've done, how many flips. It's how's my net worth growing. Because that's the big part. So if I sold 100 homes, but I tricked it off and spent it on trips and cars, what good was it to do the 100 units?
Yeah.
But if I did 10 flips or 30 units and I took all that money and invested it and my net worth doubled, huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So when I plan, I basically strategically say, what are my rental units doing right now? Can I level those up?
Yep.
So if I have a 6-unit building in the next 2 years, can I make that a 12? If I got a 12, can I make it a 24? On the flip side, it's like, hey, how many people are in my network that are flipping with me? How many resources do I have in there? Do I need to add 10 people this year? So in the 5-10 year window, it's how many doors do I have? How much money is that making?
So any like good tips, stuff you do to protect your own mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, once I kind of, and like you said, I wasn't really, I don't think you could call it a formal, um, it wasn't like a formal thing where the doctor said medically you 1000% struggle with anxiety.
Yeah.
There was no talk about therapy or anything like that, or it was just like, you just have anxiety and you probably should relax a little bit. And it was like, okay,
Thanks, Doc.
thanks, Doc. Yeah.
Can you put that on a prescription pad?
Yeah, exactly. And so, I kind of jumped into it once I accepted that and realized what was going on. I started to dive into it a bit more, read books, articles, podcasts, things like that. And really, there's two parts to it that I do. So there's like the mental aspect for helping myself, and then there's like the productivity aspect. So the first thing in mental is really just accepting it and giving myself grace and just understanding, being very self-aware and saying, if I'm having a terrible day or a terrible morning, it might be time to just call it and being okay with that.
Yep.
And just saying, you know what, I need to just take a step back because I'm not going to be able to serve anyone. I'm not my best self right now.
Yeah.
I need to take a step back. I'm going to take the day off or take the hour off or 20 minutes even, and just do something for me to unwind, regather, and then come back either 20 minutes, an hour, the next day, whatever. So there's that part, and just really being aware of what do I need, putting myself first.
Yep.
Because it's so cliche, but it's true. You can't pour into anything if your own, cup is empty.
Yeah.
If you have nothing to give, you can't give.
Yeah, exactly.
And so just really being aware of, if I need a day or need half a day or something like that. On top of that, I think finding something and scheduling that, like you mentioned, time blocking, that goes hand in hand with it. Is one thing I learned is put your stuff in first,
Yep.
So I like to schedule out a week or so, and I'm not the best at it. I'm not a guru. I still struggle with it here and there, but at least saying, okay, you know what, I need an afternoon or a morning or something, and scheduling that. And then what do I like to do? What calms me and lets me just step away and disconnect a little bit so I can recharge, and then just do that, and sometimes I'm not the best at it. Sometimes we do get caught up because our profession is so go, that we can get lost in that, and we can get excited about it too. So it's not always just dull or whatever. We can get excited and just want to keep going, but we also have to realize that we need to step back.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the whole like mental side, is just being aware, making sure I take that time. For the productivity, I find that because my main thing that I struggle with is getting so overwhelmed that if I have, in our profession, we've got the deals, we've got talking to new clients, we've got, how do we grow our business, our marketing, finances, taxes that we just had to do.
Yeah, right.
All of this stuff is
I filed an extension.
Yeah, exactly. All of this stuff is in our head, and it's just like we're constantly thinking. And then for me, if I'm doing something and something triggers a thought, I might be like, oh, I gotta do that too.
Yeah.
And jumping around and whatnot, and then getting so overwhelmed with your task list that nothing gets done at all.
Yep.
And then you feel like crap. So nothing gets done. Then you kind of beat yourself up about it. And then the cycle kind of continues. So one of the things that I make sure that I do right now is I have a huge to-do list, of course, like everyone else in the industry. But what I make sure to do is just take 3 main things, the 3 things that I want to accomplish for that day. Those are, nothing else really matters, just those 3 things. I make sure they're obviously meaningful.
Prioritized.
Prioritized and going to move my business forward. And of course, there will be other things that pop up during the day with transactions and whatnot. But those 3 things are my main focus. And I found that if I just sit down, take time to focus on those 3 things one at a time, then I can kind of alleviate some of that anxiety or overwhelm or feelings of overwhelm, and actually get things done. And then it really alleviates a lot of that stress, and doesn't take as much of a toll on the mental health side of things.
The first person that I hired was a transaction coordinator. So I wasn't doing my paperwork and I wasn't writing my amendments and addendums and all of that. I had somebody to help so I could go on more appointments. But I spent that time with the 3 L's: lead generating, lead converting, and lead follow-up, because I knew that was going to lead to the next thing. And so when we started to really scale this, I started to hire people to do the things that was making me successful while I was out teaching real estate to other people and creating systems and processes for other people to be successful.
Yep.
I understand that, like, coming out of the business selling 100 homes in your first year is not normal. Like, I could maybe count on one hand the number of people that I know that did that. And it takes an enormous amount of effort and strategy and commitment to do that. But I also knew that I have now 100 referral partners. I have 100 people that I sold homes to that like me, trust me, that I knocked it out of the park for, that left me Zillow reviews and Google reviews. What are we doing to build that from there? Because that for a lot of realtors, 100 sales is plenty for your entire career.
Yeah. Well, and just to add to what you're saying really quick before you continue, is that I think there are too many agents that treat a deal as a one and done thing. It's like they get the lead, they never really get to know them, they make the sale, and then it's adios, see you later. So yes, getting good reviews, keeping in touch with those people, it's like those will help your business exponentially down the line for years to come.
So I think that's huge, is just like making your presence known to people. And like we had a conversation the other day about real estate is a lot of a time in the game thing.
100%.
Like no matter what you do your first year, 2 years, it's going to be a grind.
100%.
It's going to be a grind. Like I said, unless you have that local reputation, that pull where people are just going to go with you. Maybe you got a family that's pretty well known in your hometown, but it's going to be a grind. But you'll find out when you get to year 5, year 7, you're getting a lot of repeats and referrals because of the time spent in the game, because people can learn to associate you with real estate. Because in the beginning, I think a lot of people do know it's like people will get into real estate and it's like a part-time hobby almost, or 95% of people don't make it past their first year. So if you don't keep on reminding the public that you're in real estate, they might just think that you switched careers.
Right.
In today's consumer, I mean, and we're included in that, it's like we have the attention span of like a goldfish. And if I don't see what's happening to you on social media, you might have like disappeared from the earth. I don't know.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's just how it is.
No, 100%.
And also, as agents, pick up the damn phone and call the listing agent and poke and pry as much as you possibly can and get as much information as you really can. As long as it's not dual agency, go for it.
Yeah.
And just let them talk, have that conversation. Say, can you ask your sellers what it would take for us to get our offer accepted tonight and beat out the other 3 offers?
Yep.
What does that price look like? What do those terms look like? I don't know if my buyers are willing to do it, but I'd love the opportunity to. We have X financing. They're flexible on close date. Bring me some terms and I'll see if I can write your seller an offer that they would accept right away. It's a win-win situation.
Yep.
But how many times on the listing side do we see agents submit an offer, it goes to your email, you never got a call, you never got showing
Might end up in your spam. Things with attachments
100%.
end up in spam all the time.
Absolutely. And yeah, once again, on the listing side, you better be the agent that's checking your spam inbox if you have a listing, because there are a million agents out there that will not pick up the phone. And also, texting is not picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Call them.
Yep.
And especially when you're trying to get information out of a listing agent to figure out what it's going to take to secure the property for your buyers, don't give them time to think over a text. Don't say, hey, what's this going to take? And have them go, oh, how should I handle this? Pick up the phone and say, hey, how's our offer looking compared to the other 2?
Yeah. Well, and that's where I think my greatest skill set truly as an agent is just my communication skills, because I do think and my friends probably don't like this about me, I'm a phone guy. Like,
Sure.
I like to call people, because I don't like to be texting for, like, when we're trying to make plans for a night or something, I'm like, and we're texting back and forth, I'm like, can I just call you and we'll just figure this out in like a second.
Hash it out.
Yeah. Like
Don't give them time. Don't give them time to fumble. Don't give them time for another offer to roll in.
Yeah.
Pick
And I'm a huge phone call guy. So, and like my script essentially when I'm leaving, so right when I leave the showing, I'm like, hey, if you're interested enough in this that you want me to follow up with the listing agent, I will call them on my ride home.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes. So I call and I'll say like, hey, Ian, this is Blair from EXP. Just showed your listing on 123 Easy Street. And I got a very, very interested buyer. I'd love to pick your brain about it. And they're usually pretty happy to hear they got an interested buyer on the line.
Yep.
And I just go, so like, first of all, how's traffic? How's the traffic in the house? Do you have any offers in hand?
Yep.
And they'll usually indulge that and let me know. And I think a lot of them will beef up the numbers a little bit. They'll be like, yeah, we got one in hand, but like 3 people said they're going to
we've got some vultures circling. So
yeah, it's like, so you have one in hand.
How many do you have on the table is the question to ask. How many do you have in hand?
Yeah, so I'll say, how many do you have in hand? And they'll usually give you, we have 2 in hand, 3 are planning to write, and then I haven't heard back from like a bunch. But and then my next question is, what is the most important things to your sellers in getting a deal done? Because I don't think enough people are asking that, and they aren't figuring out they have a preferred close date. They have, they want to rent back or something. So figuring that out. And then, like I said, and then once we get good rapport going, and I'll say, you know what, Ian, while we're talking about it, what would it, it's a Friday. I'm sure your sellers would love to enjoy their weekend. We'd all like to get this done with. What could I do right now? And I try to put it even on me. Like I say, like, what can I do to get my buyer locked up in this tonight?
Yeah.
Like, what can we do so we can get the rest of the weekend done with? And they'll generally like, you know what? I don't know. Let me talk to my sellers and see what I can do.
Yeah.
We are house hacking. We own a duplex, and we're actually living cheaper now than we were when we were renting. So for everyone out there that's like, well, I can't afford it. Neither of us are like millionaires, and we have a fairly high interest rate.
Yeah.
And we live cheaper now than when we were renting.
Yeah.
And just because we kind of knew the route that we want to go, and we have a long-term goal. But that's just to say, if you're out there and you're watching this and you're like, I can't afford a home, there is hope.